We're all waiting for the same hero. Its name is motivation. One day it'll come and save us. I waited 3 years, hundreds of videos, books, plans, notebooks. Nothing. It never came. Because there is no hero. Or rather, there is, but we all have the job description wrong. The order was backwards the whole time. Motivation doesn't come before action. It comes after. Always after. The day I saw this in actual research, the way I work changed completely. Now I'm going to show you the same thing, and by the end of this video, you'll test it yourself. But first, let's talk about this. Where did this idea come from, and why does it feel so logical? Because it does feel logical, let's be honest. You have to want it first so you can do it. It sounds as solid as math, and everything around you confirms it. Motivational speeches, morning routine videos, quote pages telling you to find your fire. They're all built on a single assumption: you need to feel something before you can take action. I believed this for years, and I didn't just believe it, I acted on it too. I waited. Now here's the annoying part. While waiting for that feeling, we're not actually sitting idle. We're watching motivational videos, making plans, daydreaming, imagining ourselves having already succeeded. And this makes us feel like we're making progress. But for your brain, this isn't progress. It might even be the opposite. A researcher named Gabriele Oettingen has been studying a single question for 30 years. What does positive fantasizing about the future do to a person? The answer is the opposite of what most people expect. In a study with people in a weight loss program, those who most vividly imagined their slim selves had lost less weight on average a year later. Not more, less. In later experiments, positive fantasizing was measured to lower physical energy even in the short term. The brain counts that fantasy as partially done. It pays out some of the reward in advance. You relax as if you've accomplished something without having done anything. This explains the famous effect of consuming motivational content. Feeling like you could move mountains while watching, then being unable to get off the couch 20 minutes later. In those 20 minutes, you didn't gain anything, you spent it. You burned your energy while building the fantasy. By the way, this is exactly what I do on this channel. I take ideas that the personal development world has drilled into us and look at whether they actually work. Not to tear them down, I come from that world, and some of those ideas genuinely changed my life. But I want to separate which ones have something behind them and which ones just feel good. If that resonates with you, subscribe. Now, let's get to the real part. If action first, feeling second were just a nice slogan, I wouldn't care. But there's a mechanism behind it, and once you see that mechanism, there's no going back. There's a loop. Where you enter that loop determines everything. You move. Movement produces a small result, a page, a mile, a completed task. That result produces a feeling of, I can do this. That feeling produces motivation, and motivation produces more movement. Motivation exists inside this loop. But it's not the entry point. It's a middle station. You're looking for something at the gate that's actually at the second stop. And because it's not at the gate, you think something's broken in me. It's not. The system works this way in everyone. The guy who doesn't want to go to the gym but can't stop once he's there. The woman who can't sit down to write but can't get up for 3 hours once she does, they're in the same loop. The difference isn't in what they feel, it's in where they entered. The rough summary of Deci and Ryan's decades of motivation research says the same thing. Lasting drive feeds on feeling competent, and the only known way to feel competent at something is to actually do it. The raw material of motivation is action itself. You're waiting for the product without turning on the factory. And then there's what I think is the most fascinating piece. This might be the most important 30 seconds of this video. Daryl Bem's self-perception idea. Bem says this: most of the time, we don't build our beliefs about ourselves by looking inward. We build them by observing our own behavior from the outside. As if we're a third person watching ourselves, collecting evidence. If you run for 10 minutes 3 days in a row, your brain makes this note. Apparently, I'm someone who runs. Identity changes from there. You don't decide who you are first and then act accordingly. You act first, and who you are gets updated afterward. There's also the procrastination piece, because the picture is incomplete without it. Pierce Steele combined hundreds of studies on procrastination into a single analysis. The result is surprising. One of the strongest predictors of procrastination isn't unwillingness, it's a low expectation of being able to succeed at the task. When you procrastinate, your brain is roughly calculating, this task is big, I probably can't do it, and the reward is far away, so there's no point in starting now. The lock clicks shut right here. The longer you don't start, the more evidence builds that you can't do it. As that evidence accumulates, your expectations drop. As your expectations drop, starting becomes even harder. You've built a self-feeding system, and its fuel is your inaction. What unlocks it isn't a feeling either. It's a small, completed action. Because the only type of data that raises your expectation is this: I did it yesterday. So why do we fall into this trap, especially in our 20s? I don't think it's a coincidence. Because for the first time in your life, there's no external skeleton. When you were in school, you didn't need motivation. Did you notice that? There was an exam date, a bell, a deadline. Even if you said, I don't feel like it, the system didn't care. The exam was still on Tuesday. The moment you graduate, that skeleton is pulled away, and for the first time, you're face to face with this question: if nobody's forcing me, why should I do this? In that void, the idea of it has to come from within seems perfectly reasonable, because you have no other compass. Nobody told you that you now need to build the structure that was given to you from outside for years. This isn't a character flaw. It's a skill nobody taught you. And three more things pile on top. 1. Infinite options. In your 20s, theoretically, every door is open. Should I learn coding, start a channel, move somewhere? The abundance of choices makes wait until I find the right one look like a smart strategy. But most of the time, that waiting isn't strategy, it's fear in disguise. Because if you never choose any of them, you've never failed at any of them. 2. Comparison. On your phone, you only see your peers' results. Nobody shares their boring 3-year middle phase. So you compare your day 1 to someone else's day 1000 and reach this conclusion: they have that fire, I don't, so this must not be my thing. They have the feeling because they've been moving for 1,000 days. You don't because you haven't moved. Same order again. 3. The passion myth. Find your passion, and the rest will follow, is another disguised version of the same reversed order. As if passion is sitting somewhere ready-made and we just can't find it. Researchers from Yale and Stanford have a great study on this. People who believe interests are discovered quit when things get hard. I guess this wasn't my passion. People who believe interests can be developed keep going. Same difficulty, 2 different outcomes. The only difference is how they read that difficulty. Passion is like motivation. Not the reason you start, but the result of continuing. Now, I need to stop here and clarify something, because if I don't, I'm not being honest. This isn't one of those videos that buries motivation. A trend has emerged in recent years, you know it. Motivation is trash, discipline is everything. That's the same mistake stated in reverse. One camp puts motivation on a pedestal, the other puts discipline. Both miss the same thing. They're not rivals. They're 2 parts of the same mechanism. Motivation hits the starter. Discipline keeps the engine running. A car won't start without the starter, but you can't drive by holding the starter down either. When that first spark comes, it really is king, use it fully. The problem is we don't treat it like a spark, we treat it like fuel. We wait for it like a hero. Come, save us, start us, and carry us. It won't carry you. Carrying is the system's job. But a system without a spark is a cold engine. You can't push it forever either. Neither is superior to the other. They just have different jobs. Our issue isn't with motivation itself, it's with the wrong job description we've given it. The big things in life accumulate from small things that started on the days the spark came and continued on the days you didn't feel like it. Okay, diagnosis done. What do we do in practice? I'm not going to tell you be disciplined and leave it at that, because that stays in the air too. Instead, 4 adjustments. All 4 come from the same principle. Get the order right. 1. Shrink the start, not the goal. Your goal can stay big, what you need to shrink is the entry ticket. I'll study for 2 hours today, and I'll sit at my desk for 5 minutes. Don't carry the same resistance, your brain won't even open negotiations with the second one. You say yes to 5 minutes, but once the loop starts spinning, continuing becomes easier than starting was. You've already paid the most expensive part. Even if you quit at 5 minutes, you haven't lost. You've written the "I did it yesterday" data into your brain. 2. Don't stop dreaming, connect the dream to a plan. I just said positive fantasizing doesn't work on its own. But the second half of Oettingen's research is even more interesting. Fantasy becomes useful when it's crashed against reality. The method is this. First, vividly imagine what you want. Then immediately ask, what's the real obstacle keeping me from this? The one inside me. Not, I don't have time. Something concrete like when I get home in the evening, I collapse on the couch and can't put down my phone. Then write an if-then sentence for that obstacle. If I get home and collapse on the couch, I'll plug my phone in to charge and sit at the kitchen table. Sounds too simple, I know. But the combined analysis of hundreds of studies on if-then plans shows a significant difference in action rates. The reason makes sense. You're not leaving the decision to the moment of decision. In that moment, you're tired, and your tired self's favorite answer is tomorrow. 3. Make the environment stronger than your mood that day. If your gym bag is by the door since the night before, half of the morning's decision is already made. If your phone is in another room, the "let me just check" option drops off the menu. The difference between people who look consistently disciplined and people who constantly struggle is often not the amount of willpower, it's a few small environmental tweaks that make starting easy and quitting inconvenient. 4. Score your day by starting, not by results. The question, "How much progress did I make today?" will crush your morale in the first weeks, because progress is invisible, no muscle appears, the channel doesn't grow. But the answer to "Did I start today?" is 100% in your hands. And here's the funny part. When you stack enough days of starting on top of each other, the results you stopped measuring accumulate on their own. One more thing, a little uncomfortable, but if I don't say it, this video won't do its job. What you're feeling right now, that yes, this makes so much sense, I'm changing, starting tomorrow, feeling is a spark. And we just saw together, a spark alone won't make it to tomorrow morning. Once the video ends, it'll fade, partly because of the satisfaction of having watched this video. Don't put it on a waiting list. Hit the starter. Here's the experiment. This week, pick one thing, one of those things you've been saying "when my motivation comes" about for months. Not the biggest one, pick the one that comes to mind first because it makes you feel the most guilt. One rule: don't wait to feel ready, just do the 5-minute version. If it's running, put your shoes on and go to the end of the street. If it's writing, write 2 sentences. At the end of the 5th minute, quitting is completely free. I'm serious, that's the rule. Just pay attention to one thing. Is the feeling you had before you started the same as the feeling at the 5th minute or not? On this channel, we put the ideas the personal development world has taught us on the table one by one. Which ones actually work? Which ones just feel good? If you don't want to miss the next one, subscribe. The principle is the same in every video. Think, test, keep what works.